Okay, I'm just going to talk about the importance of understanding, just the circumstances in which we're supposed to participate in. So we should listen to this, and I wanted to stop it the last time because it gone on for so long, but it has to be fresh in your mind how they are operating the public school system here in Nevada and how some children have access, but others have none. So here we go again.
Chairwoman and members of the Legislative Committee on Education, for the record, this is David Brandkamp. I'm the director of our Office of Standards Instructional Support. And fortunate for all of us, we have Janie Maloney in my office. She is the lead to this. So I'm going to, I know it's late, just turn it over to Janie. She does an amazing job with this, and Janie can give you your update. Thank you, Janie.
Hi, good afternoon. Hopefully everybody can hear me. My name is Jane Maloney, for the record, at the Department of Education and Standards and Instructional Support Office. Thank you, Madam Chair, and the committee members for allowing me this time to review. First, I just wanted to offer and make sure that your family and you are well and healthy. Over the last couple months, we did have multiple events scheduled and planned that we were going to offer up educators and families from around the state. We had an Educator Financial Literacy Summit, which was going to be held on the same day in Reno and in Las Vegas for educators. We had a family fun night that was scheduled to be at an elementary school in Clark County School District, which was going to engage families in financial literacy as well as in computer science. And then we also had Financial Literacy Month, which we have decided will occur in April. This will occur annually in April, and where we will have activities that will engage stakeholders throughout the state. COVID-19 did happen, but it didn't stop anything. It just postponed it, sorry. But we don't want that to stop what our goals are and how it's going to impact educating students and educators and community members on financial literacy best practices. If anything, the last few months have actually highlighted that the importance of financial literacy instruction is needed now more than ever. The State Financial Literacy Council will be meeting this summer on August 3rd from 1 to 3, and we will be discussing upcoming work for the 2020-2021 school year. In this, we will be discussing professional learning, a fall workshop for financial literacy standards and resources to use in the classrooms for educators. We will also be discussing having the annual Educator Financial Literacy Summit, which will be held in the spring of 2021. We are looking to host 2 family fun nights, one in the fall with a theme around post-secondary and FAFSA, and then another one in the spring for elementary students, K-8. I'm really encouraging all stakeholders to come and participate in financial literacy learning. We will also have a proclamation, hopefully, declaring Financial Literacy Month is in April, and we will have weekly themed activities and student contests. And lastly, we will be working on reviewing the financial literacy seal criteria that will be implemented in Nevada. That is just a quick update of what was to have happened, and then our future what will hopefully happen. We are looking into multiple options on having these updates virtually and face-to-face, as we just don't know what is coming in our near future. I appreciate your time and update, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you. Questions from any committee members? Well, seeing no questions, again, thank you for that update. We appreciate that those ideas and plans were in motion despite COVID interrupting, but thank you for the work thus far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, closing out on that agenda item, moving to the next one, which is the report on the status of incentives for teachers employed at a Title I or underperforming school as required by Assembly Bill 196. We have Jeff Brisky from NDE, who is in charge of Education Programs Professional, or is Education Programs Professional. So, Mr. Brisky, when you are ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Miller and members of the Committee on Education. For the record, my name is Jeff Brisky, Education Programs Professional in the Office of Educator Development, Licensure, and Family Engagement. I'm here today to give you an update on Assembly Bill 196, continuing teacher incentives. My presentation is a timeline of the department's progress from application to distribution of continuing teacher incentives. Slide 2. In October, the State Board adopted a Department Business Practice for application and distribution of incentives in lieu of writing regulation. This allows for a much faster turnaround time when making awards. In November, the State Board adopted awards of nearly $2.5 million, resulting in an average award of $330 per teacher for over 7,500 requests. Award letters, budgets, and assurances were also distributed to districts in November. Slide 3. As budget summaries and state assurances were received, subgrants were distributed to districts in January, giving them access to request incentive funds. In February, the Interim Finance Committee adopted a work program moving additional funds into this category, increasing the average incentive by $133 per teacher. Revised award letters and budgets were sent to districts a few days after the IC meeting. Slide 4. Revised subgrants were distributed to districts between February and April as the revised budgets were received, thus allowing districts access to these additional funds. As of June 4, about $96,000 has been requested and paid to districts with a remaining balance of approximately $3.2 million. Districts were instructed and reminded to request funds in November, January, February, March, April, and a courtesy reminder on June 4. Districts must first distribute incentives to teachers, then request funds by submitting a report of expenditures to the department. While some districts distribute incentives to teachers throughout the year, others, including Clark and Washoe, typically distribute incentives at the end of June. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
Committee members, do we have any questions? I have a few questions about this. So this is not, I think that often we're familiar with the idea that certain schools receive additional funding to attract teachers to come and teach there. However, this is not that same funding. This would be an additional incentive for those teachers who were currently already at those Title I schools, correct?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. Jeff Risky for the record. You are correct. There are two other allowable use categories. One is for new teacher Title I and transfer teacher Title I. This one in AB 196 is specifically for teachers who taught at a Title I school.
Okay, so now we're talking about Title I school. And we're talking about 100% Title I school, and the resources are the teachers and how they fund them. But if they have, temporary teachers there at those Title I schools, they're not being funded at the same level. And that's just rare. So I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure that everybody gets the same allocation, just not the same qualification.
Share or underperforming and who continue to teach at a Title I school or underperforming school.
Oh, you have to.
And so we're looking at the average teacher received or will receive, because you implied that most districts do this in June, a bonus of $133. Is that what that number is?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you, Jeff Risky, for the record. The original budget was $330 per teacher with an additional $133, bringing the total to $463 for each of those approximately 7,500 teachers.
Okay, and with your award recommendations, can you speak to it? Up in one of the earlier bullets, it talks about, it states that the Board of Education adopted award recommendations and then per teacher request. So how would a teacher be awarded this? Is the onus on the teacher to request it? Or is this something the district and the individual schools are requesting on behalf of the teachers?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. Jeff Risky for the record. The department sends out applications and the districts request the number of teachers that they are anticipating would fall into one of those allowable use categories. The department makes recommendations to the state board, and then the state board turns around and actually makes dollar amount awards to the districts. And when I gave you that figure of 330 and an additional 133, that would be the approximate amount or the average amount that the districts could pay the teachers incentives.
Good.
Some districts pay more out of other funding sources, and some districts would pay what the state provides of 463.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, then it sounds like from the department's perspective, you, based on what the district said, this is the amount of teachers who could qualify under your requirements, that you are then sending that amount based on those numbers to the districts.
Yeah.
Yet we don't know if the districts, what happens at that point
No,
once the money gets to the districts. But from the department's point of view, you are granting the money to the individual districts based on those numbers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, that is correct. Jeff Risky for the record.
So I guess you have to
Thank
ask
you.
them the information. How they spent that money, girl.
Senator Dondero Luke, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My question is that $133 a one-time award? Is that per month, per what?
Thank you for the question, Jeff Risky for the record. The award, again, was given to the districts. When and how they distribute that to teachers, that's up to their discretion. And this would be an annual award just for the school year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because nothing good's going to come out of my mouth right now. Thank you.
And if please, Jeff Risky for the record, we do know what the requests are when requests for funds do come in, because the districts do have to send in a report of expenditures, how much of the award was given to the teachers.
Right. I just, and I understand, and I totally understand that. I just, unfortunately, in this day and age, $133 is such a small amount. I'm not sure it's an incentive, which is what it's supposed to be. So it may be nice to get. Teachers appreciate it because that's the way teachers are, but if it's an incentive, it seems like it should be a little bit more. Thank you.
I believe we may have another question. And Assemblywoman Carlton?
And thank you, Madam Chair. So when I was looking at the amounts, and if I'm misreading this, I apologize. But it was my impression that the 133 was in addition to the other base amount, or did I misread this? There's an amount in 19 that was $330 per teacher. And then there was an adjustment to add the 133. Is that correct? Or am I misreading that?
Thank you for the question, Jeff Risky. For the record, you are correct, Assemblywoman Carlton. The initial amount was $330 per teacher with an additional $133 for a total of $463 per teacher. And the reason the figures does seem kind of low is there was an overwhelming application for those requests.
And I believe in a lot of Title I schools that had teachers in them. So probably more than we would like to have, but they are Title I schools. So I didn't want anyone out there listening to think that it was just $133. So we we tussled over making sure that money got there. I want to make sure it was worth the tussle. Thank you very much.
Questions from any other members? Do we have anyone from the school districts still participating, available to respond to any questions?
Hello. District
Madam
teacher.
Chair, this is Lindsay Anderson. I'm hanging around. I'm not sure I can answer, but I'm physically here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So we would just like to, oh, great. Great, Dr. Przinski. Brad, Dr. Keating, are you available? If you could just respond to, because it seems like the money will be sent to the districts from the department, but I would just like to get a good idea of how it then is going to be, how and when it's going to be administered or granted to the teachers, and just a number of how many teachers this involves. And if,
Okay.
yes, and what your process from the district was, because I also wouldn't want teachers to miss out on this just for lack of knowing it was available, and if the onus was on them to apply or fulfill some application process within the district, as opposed to the districts working on their behalf, knowing that they qualify to make sure they obtain the funds to grant it to the teachers.
And are the temporary teachers going to get
Okay,
that?
thank you, Madam Chair. Lindsay Anderson on behalf of the Washoe County School District. I can probably answer about a third of that and then happy to follow up with the rest. My understanding is that we determined the number of eligible teachers. There was not an application process on their part. If they were eligible, they were included in our application to the Department of Ed and the state board. And I do know for sure that they will receive those funds on their June paycheck. So they have not received anything yet. It's my understanding that the funds were sort of only recently made available, and we negotiated with our teachers to distribute those on their June paycheck. So they will get those this month. And then it's a reimbursement program. So once it's actually been paid by us, we will request the funds from the Department of Ed to reimburse us for those incentives. But I can't miss the opportunity to say how often it is to provide, like you said, an incentive in June. So I think there's probably some work to be done in terms of timing.
Okay, thank you.
And Madam Chair and members of the committee, for the record, Mary Przinski, and I have 15 districts I'm dealing with. I'll have to work with them and figure it out. I don't know. I'll be happy to respond or survey them. Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Dr. Keating, are you available? Okay, then we will follow up with CCSD to find out about their process with this bill. Any additional questions from committee members? Okay, then we are moving into our last agenda item, which is public comment. With public comment, again, I'd like to invite anyone wishing to make a public comment. You may call in at this time. You may call the number 1-669-900-6833 and then enter the ID number 919-4106-7592 and press pound. As a reminder, public comment can also be submitted to the committee's email for official record. Each public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. We're going to take a minute right now, a minute or so, just to wait to allow those individuals who are calling in to call in and get connected. So we're just going to pause for 2 minutes and give everyone ample time to do that. And then at that point, when our staff in broadcast and production can let us know that somebody's in the queue and available to make comment.
And she really paused, didn't she? So the deal is that in regards to trying to figure out just how they are supporting all children in educational content and standards, we don't know. Because there's really no reporting at the local level. And you see, there's really information at the legislative level. I'm so confused as to who is really going to be held responsible for the failure. So I'm gonna pause the video recording.
Madam Chair, it just had one person join in.
Excellent.
Caller with the last three of 448. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Thank you. My name is Valeria Gur, VALERAAGURR for the record. And I'm the Nevada State Director with the Nevada School Choice Coalition. I work with families every week, and 4 private schools have already closed due to the financial crisis of COVID-19. And I expect that many more will do the same. According to a private survey, a school survey, 81% responded that parents are saying that they cannot afford tuition. And why this is important? Because over 23,000 students will only attend private schools, and if their schools close, the students will have to return to their assigned public schools, causing more overcrowded classrooms. In Florida, the governor set aside $45 million in funding to provide relief to low-income private schools families. And our governor here received $26.5 under the CARE Act that can be used at his discretion. He could use a small portion to help low-income private schools and really help all children and not just some. Many students who attend small and medium-sized private schools are hoping that their schools will survive. And many of these private schools are not wealthy schools. These are low-income schools helping children in the east and north part of Las Vegas. While the crisis has affected everyone, will no doubt will be likely to hurt more the families that already need it most. Thank you so much for your time.
And that concludes all the public commenters at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. With that, do we have any additional comments from members before we adjourn? Well, I'd like to thank everyone for your diligence and your attention. I know it seems sometimes even longer when we're all in our homes or private offices, but again, another robust meeting. Thank you so much for engaging. And with that, I would just like to remind everyone that our next meeting is Wednesday, July 15th, and we will be beginning at 9 a.m. on that Wednesday, July 15th. Please continue to check the website as well for any updates. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Everybody tune in Wednesday, July 15th.